Hello, beautiful people. We are back with episode five's breakdown of Roller Jam. This week we are in the 80s, which I just always think of the 70s with roller skating, but these songs are very good for roller skating. I will get into some spoilers, but I will wait toward the end and I will let you know before I do so that you can pause and watch the show if you haven't and then come back. So, in case you don't know, my name is Nicole Fiore. I am a four-time world champion roller skater, coach, and choreographer, and I teach online as well as in person. I highly recommend checking out my membership at thatnicolefiore.com or right here on YouTube. A lot of the skills that we talk about in these breakdowns, you can learn for yourself within that membership. So please check it out and please let me know if you have any questions at all. Let's get into this week's skating. So we have 4 teams left. We have House of Skate, Skate Gravity, Honor Roll, and Bad Boys Skate Crew. I will tell you who my favorite was, but I am going to start in order and break down their actual skating. This week was way better than last week with the skating. Last week, I felt people needed to use the floor more, and they did just that this week. Now, they did have to incorporate a workout within their routine. Not very difficult to do. You can easily add in a workout in your skating routine. Obviously, skating is a workout in and of itself, so that's pretty easy to incorporate it. To make it super noticeable, not necessarily. The teams did a good job. They could have done things a bit more extreme. I mean, to me, that is the 80s. It's big, it's bold, it's as loud as it can get. More is more in the 80s. Before I hit play on this, there are some really good shots of the skates that these skaters are wearing. Some skaters are wearing Harlech, a lot are wearing Rydell. I think some are wearing Adea, but it's really nice to see what skates people are wearing and what wheels they're wearing. We have a guest judge this week. We have Debbie Gibson, who I was very excited to see because I think she will be a really, really good judge. And there's a few editing things within this episode that caught me off guard that I had to like pause and rewind. There was a lot of pausing and rewinding for me. I watched the episode one time all the way through, and then I go through each routine and pause and rewind and like really break down what they are doing before I come to you. So there was a lot of pausing, rewinding, wait, what? Because things were happening all at once and there was a lot happening, which is a very good thing. We start out here and we have a really good opening scene. I love this so much, but right here, Bunny has zero expression on her face when Debbie is looking at her, which was more just like funny that they used that clip to me. They had a running man at the beginning of that, which was a really good move, really smart move. This choreography right here, I thought was really, really good. Really well done. The synchronicity is not 100%, but it's like 98%. So not mad at that. Sean Christopher, who you saw right there, they talk about it in judging. He is choreographing these routines. And like I said last week, he is by far the most expressive person to watch in this crew. And I love watching him because he's just so much. This rolling sequence, I don't think a lot of teams have done that. And I thought that they did that really well. That is a part of skating that is very popular. And especially on the internet, we see it a lot. So I thought that that was a really good moment that they got to showcase that and did it really well. I called it like a throw lift in my notes. I don't really know what you would even call it. He like comes back down. So right here they go up. Oh my gosh. Skates are really heavy. That takes a lot to like bring someone up and carefully set them back down. But there's a moment in here where the clapping is off, and I don't think it's them. I think it's the edit here where they're clapping. The audience is clapping at the same time, but when you watch it with the audio, it's like step, clap, and their clap is on the step, and then the music says clap. It doesn't say clap, but you know what I mean. It's the moment where you're supposed to clap, but there's this opposite. And since the audience is doing it at the same time as them, I'm pretty sure it's just an editing thing, but that like pulled me out of it where I was like, something's wrong. And then when I went through it the second time to pause and rewind and all that, I was like, oh, that's what's wrong. Obviously, they're editing things together. We're not seeing the full routine from like one wide camera watching the full routine happen. I think there's a lot happening that we're not seeing. And this is one moment where they pieced things together and it reads really well. It was very entertaining to watch. I was fully entertained in this routine. So, Bad Boys, I think this was by far the best routine you've done because there was not a dull moment for me. Everything was really pleasing to watch. Also, within the judging part of it, Debbie talks about the running man on skates, and then they call it the rolling man, which I thought was really funny. But she mentions, like, I don't even know how you would do that. And Johnny says, if you want, we can just put you on a pair of skates and you can figure it out. And I was like, Debbie, if you want to learn how to skate, please, please, please let me know. I got you. We can make this happen. Okay, well, we will get into the scores after we go through the next three routines. But next up, we have House of Skate. Now, House of Skate's routine last week did not do it for me. I didn't think it was challenging enough. I didn't think they skated enough. This week's was a lot better. We started with them doing their thing. Laurent jumps over. This scares me every time someone does it, and then Laurent's just being Laurent. Nails it every time. So many different elements. Ay, goodness gracious. There's a moment behind Laurent where Don gets pulled through, stumbles on his way up. They bring that up quite a bit in the judging, saying he should have recovered quicker. The choreography, little dance sequences for this episode were so good. Like, this was spot on. Jumping into that split, everyone at the same time, and then doing a little workout moment. They, I think, hit the challenge the best with the workout because that was all in sync. Really, really well done. They have little moments of hesitation where they're going into things and you see them kind of waiting, prepping, maybe waiting for the music. That choreography, I thought, and that ending was good. I thought made up for it. When I first watched it, was kind of like, oh, there's too much waiting. When I watched it through the second time, I was like, okay. Like, I get it. I never want there to be downtime. I never want there to be waiting. Every skater should always be doing something. And even if it is like secondary things where one skater's being highlighted so the other skaters are doing something a bit smaller, you should always be doing something. If you're just rolling, like waiting to get into something, that pulls the audience completely out of it. And it kind of did for me. So, again, we will get into scores in just a bit. But next up, we have skate gravity. Now, Junior got hurt last week and he is not competing this week with the team. I was very hesitant about this because he is their base for the lifts. He provides all of those huge lifts. They cannot do that on their own. They really do show that they can skate. I know that because I know these skaters, but we haven't really seen them have kind of solo moments. We've seen Cardell do solos, but we haven't seen the girls really skate. And this week was really nice because they showed that. Let's not forget that they're in very weird positions right here. Ash has one leg up, Kim is in a forearm stand. They're in crazy positions to begin with. We obviously have this prop that's down on the ground that they're skating around. We don't know what's going to happen with it. It's not just for this. It can't be just for this. We have a split spin right here with him holding both of them. The choreography wasn't difficult in dance terms, but it was entertaining. Now, the girls take off right away and show that they can do things on their own. They have three turns, they have cross pulls, they get down into a coffin, all skills that we do within the membership. But Ash's coffin is like perfect. She is fully on the ground. That was really nice to see. Then they lift him up. I thought this was so smart because the entire time was like, oh, how are they going to do that? Is he going to be able to lift them? I don't know. So they lift him instead. I thought that was the cutest way they could have done that for sure. Then we get into this moment. Now, hate is a strong word, but I hate this. It makes me so uncomfortable. Kim attaches her head to the clip in the circle and spins herself, and it is holding on just by her hair. Ugh, that makes my skin crawl. I really hate it. It's a very cool thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm very impressed. I myself would never ever do that. There's a lot of things in this show that I'm like, well, I'd never do that. Yeah, that's a big one. I would never do that. I don't trust that my head is strong enough to actually hold my body weight. It just doesn't sound like the best idea to me. So while that's really cool, it's not the cutest position. It shows her flexibility, yes, but it's a very awkward position. It's kind of like when you're skating and you do a flexibility move and your legs are open to the judges. That's a big no-no for me. Like, don't do that. Hide a little bit of yourself. We don't want it to just be like, hey. So I don't love that position, but it's a very cool skill. I just don't like it. Yeah. And we have the best for last. We have honor roll. That is our last routine in this episode. This is one that I had to pause a million times and look because Tony has a boom box. He's at the top of the floor, the main person that you see. He has a boom box on his shoulder. He sets the boom box down. Even the boom box falls on beat. Jordan is doing his thing down here on the ground doing floor work. And then the guys on the ends drop down into down pivots while the skater next to them jumps up like they're jumping over their leg. So much happening that I had to watch Tony, then watch Jordan, then watch the guys on the side, and then watch it again, all of them together to really see what everyone is doing. That is a not a bad thing that I was like, wait, what's happening? Because every element is so well done that it doesn't read as chaos, it reads as a whole scene that I then had to break down. So boombox falls down on beat. Everyone goes into their movement. Tony spins, then jumps over Jordan, who's doing push-ups. So smart. This moment right here where they're shuffling and like pretending like they're doing curls, I thought was so cute and such a fun personality moment. Now, this choreography, this is their iconic honor roll choreography. We all know it, we all love it, and it looks different and better every time I see it. So these guys have been doing this for so long that this is just in their bodies now, and that is why they can match so well, and they do. There's just so many cute moments in this performance. And again, there's no dull moment. Even when they're just rolling like this is really difficult to do to make sure everyone's foot goes at the same time, that nobody trips each other. I had to rewind because there's a moment right here where I don't know if Darian or Jordan messed up, but they look at each other to match. And I think one of them was just so slightly off, but they look at each other and they look like they're giving each other shit, like during the routine, just in eye contact. And then we have highlighting moments here. So Hunter goes first. He is the center of attention here, doing his thing. I'm a broken record with them because I just love everything that they do. Okay, then we have Dylan. These showcases, see how everyone is still doing something. They're doing a supporting act no matter what, and they're not bored, but they're drawing attention to the person. So lastly, we have Tony, and Tony shows his flexibility and his general just abilities, amazing abilities. Johnny says, he's like, well, I'm a fan now. And that is how I think everyone feels about this because they are so clean. Even when they mess up or there's someone just like slightly off, they play into it and it just works. This is where the spoilers are going to happen. So if you haven't watched the episode yet, please pause right here, watch the episode, come back to this because we're going to break down the Olympus skate and how the ending goes. Okay, so there's your chance because no one goes home. At the beginning of this, we have the 4 teams and we think that the finale is going to be 3 teams. But I forgot that the judges are allowed to save a team. And if you watch this episode, at the beginning of the episode, they don't point it out, but Disco Oasis is in the crowd watching this performance. They show them, they don't say anything about it. And I was like, okay, well, they have a team they can bring back. Are they still there? Because they're going to bring Disco Oasis back? Because that actually would make sense to me because I was not alone in being angry that they were sent home last week. And I was like, maybe they kept them there just in case now that I'm thinking about it. But anyway, nobody goes home. They're able to save a team. So they save both teams that are in the Olympic. They have the highest scores they've had in any of the episodes this week. We have scores ranging from 85 to 89. Honor Roll got the top spot with 89. Still, when I think about it, the scores are out of 100. That's not that high. So I'm really curious in the next episode for the finale if the scores are going to be a lot higher or if this is just the range that these teams are at. I find it kind of weird that the scores are that low, even though that's the highest they've been. It's still nobody has been in the 90s. This skate off that they have is one of the best skate offs and very equally matched. We have Cardell and we have Laurent. They are going up next to each other. Now, when I think of their skating, it's not the same, but they do very similar moves. And that is what's so interesting in this because it's two very different skaters doing similar moves, not the same, but similar moves. And you can just see how much their personalities come out in their skating. So it's really difficult for skaters to skate the same. And that's why a show like this is so fascinating because a crew to get skaters to skate in a similar fashion is really, really challenging to do. So I gotta say, he has improved so much in his skating. I am so impressed. There are fun moments like that where he's kind of doing like a strut walk. He does a lot of spinning, shows how strong he is in all of these moves. They're nice and clean. And then I think they're going to run into each other right here, but they don't. Now, Laurent basically does an improved version of last week's Olympic. So if you remember last week's, I thought Laurent was going to break his back on that move, but he does it so clean this week. So clean that I was like, I really don't know how they're going to judge this. Like, to me, Laurent cannot be beat in this, but it was honestly so close. And I was like, if he goes home in a death drop like that, I will be okay with it. But also, how can you send him home with that? So I was iffy on who would actually go home. And then they surprised us by saying no one goes home. So that means that next week, our finale will have 4 teams in it. I want your predictions now. I want to know who you think will be in what place, at least the top 2. I've changed my mind on this. So, my prediction is that first place will be Honor Roll. That has not changed. They are the strongest team, in my opinion. Honor Roll, I think, will be first. Bad Boys, I think, will be second. Now, I did not love Bad Boys for a few weeks now. I thought that their routine wasn't strong enough. But this week, they really did show up and show out. I am really curious to see how this goes. And I would love to know what you think as well. I got a lot of responses last week of people being kind of mad. This episode, I don't think a lot of people are going to be mad, especially because nobody goes home. But I'm really curious to see and hear what you guys think. So please let me know and please like and subscribe and stay in touch because next week we have the finale and I have a surprise for you as well. If you want to learn how to skate like these skaters, please check out the memberships at thatnicolefiore.com or right here on YouTube because I promise you, you can learn a lot of these skills that these skaters are doing. I hope you have a great week and I will see you next week.